Hello and welcome to the midweek Sunday school class. It is so good to have you here with us, Dosca Manor, Indiana campus, Louisville campus, Hardin County campus, E campus, all those who are watching, whether you are on campus or off campus. We certainly happy that you join in with us today because we have a tremendous lesson. We are still doing the series, The Sheep and His Shepherd. The Sheep and His Shepherd. And we come to the lesson today. My cup is full and running over. Woo-wee! Great, right there. After studying this lesson, you will realize that Christ meets every need in our lives. He feeds us and He leads us throughout our journey. He does not leave us because He loves and cares for us. He is our shepherd, the good shepherd, the great shepherd, the chief shepherd, and He's my shepherd, and we are His sheep. So let's get down and look at this. Let's look at this. Now you got to stick with me because we got lots to cover. Let's read Psalms number 23, and we're looking particularly at verse 5. But let's read it all because it is good. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Thou art with me. Thy rod and Thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And today we will look at that verse 5. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Now, the key word, or perhaps I should say, perhaps one of the most important words in that verse. You know, we just get on off on the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. But when we get to verse 5, thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. And we love it. But we need to stop and see that He said, thou preparest a table. Thou preparest. Preparation. God is a God of preparation. Before He even said, let there be anything, He said, let there be light. Because notice, He's a God of preparation. He did not make man until everything was ready. He did not say, let there be birds and there was no air. He did not say, let there be fish and there was no water. He is a God of preparation. And that's something that we as believers, as Christians, ought to remember, because there are things. Okay, let me say this. This is August. Well, we know in the last quarter of the year, we got Thanksgiving, we got Christmas, what's the next? We got Labor Day coming up. Why would we wait and start preparing? Preparation is done beforehand. You don't wait till the company knocks on the door and then start preparing dinner. You start preparing now. In fact, I saw a commercial the other night on TV. I think the woman was talking about she was a smoker and it had slowed her down and she can't hardly get around and first one thing. But what she said, if you having company, it was designed to kind of make you laugh, but she was right. If you're having company for Christmas, she said, Thanksgiving, I suggest you start preparing the meal in October. In other words, she said, because you're going to be slow. And so preparation is big. It is done beforehand. And God is a God of preparation. In fact, we need to understand if we can do it, we can't do, let me get this right, we can't do what God does. And he's not going to do what we can do. So we need to prepare ourselves. The one thing that I like about my pastor, when I see him go up into the pulpit, I don't worry. I know that he has studied and prepared to bring us a word from the Lord. If you teach Sunday school, now listen to me. If you teach Sunday school, don't wait till Friday evening, Saturday morning, and pick up the lesson. Preparation is what's important. And if you study the Bible, you will know that there are some things that couldn't happen until things were in order. You remember, Elijah told the widow, he said, go out and borrow some vessels. Don't get a few. And after you get them, when you come in the house, shut the door. In other words, prepare yourself for your blessing. Many of us want to be blessed and we're not ready yet. You remember also, let me go on again. Naaman, who had leprosy. When he went to the prophet said, dip 7 times in the Jordan. Well, he didn't want to dip. Couldn't he give me another river that was cleaner than the Jordan? I don't want to go to the Jordan. But he had to dip 7 times. Not 5, not 6, not 3, but 7 times. And when he dipped the 7th time and came up, he was healed. So I'm trying to show you that God is a God of preparation. Isaiah 40:3 says to us, listen to it, a voice of one calling, in the wilderness prepare the way for the Lord. Make straight in the desert a highway for our God. In other words, the Messiah is coming. You need to prepare the people for them. And let me tell you, if you don't prepare, you will find yourself, look what, unreadiness. Matthew 24, you don't have this in your lesson, but listen to me. Matthew 24, 38 to 39. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark, and they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came in and took them away. This is how it would be at the coming of the Son of Man. But now Noah had been telling them, preparing these people, building the ark for 120 years. Preparation. Look what Ecclesiastes 9 and 12 said. Moreover, no one knows when the hour will come. You don't know when your hour will come. It could come before this lesson is over. It could come later today, next week, tomorrow, 10 years. But you don't know when your hour will come. As fish are caught in a cruel net, or birds are taken in a snare, so people are trapped by evil times that fall unexpectedly upon them. Well, now I'm going to tell you right here, right now, you need to prepare yourself, because we are living during some evil time. People will do anything and everything before coming in. Just happened to look at the news, and they saying Donald Trump vows, if I'm president again, I'm going to forgive everybody that was involved in the January 6th mess what they had. And even though they've been indicted, I will have the power. Evil times are upon us. So now David said, let me get back to the lesson. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Table, what's David talking about here? This was the high plateau land of the sheep range where the best grass was located. Now listen, the shepherd will go, whoa, this is good stuff. Listen to me. The shepherd will go before the sheep and make sure that everything is in readiness for the sheep. He will look over the field, keeping in mind what is best for his flock during the upcoming season. See, he just doesn't take the sheep out and say, okay, catch some grass here. He goes ahead of them and prepares and looks around. He goes up to the high point where he knows some of the best grass should be and make everything in readiness for the sheep before the sheep arrive. Is that what not Jesus said he would do for us? He said, I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go, I will come again. He's not going to wait. He is making plans now. That's how come in 1 Corinthians 2 and 9, Paul says, but as it is written, I have not seen, nor ear heard, neither has entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. So he's making preparation. I'm still here talking with you because he does not have my mansion ready yet. He said, I'm going and prepare a place for you. And if I go, I will come again, that where I am, there ye may be also. So the shepherd goes in front of the sheep. He goes before and make everything in readiness for the sheep. He will look over the field, keeping in mind what is best for the flock during the coming season. What is best for the flock? That's what he's doing. He is looking to see what is best for the sheep. Then before the sheep arrive, listen, he will make another expedition or two to prepare the tableland for them. In other words, he is going to prepare where he is going to take his sheep. He is going to have it in readiness. He will take along a supply of salt and minerals to be distributed over the range at strategic spots for the benefit of the sheep during the summer. See, he is preparing the pasture for the sheep. He will also check to see if there are poisonous weeds, and if so, he will plan his grazing program to avoid the poisonous weeds, or he will take drastic steps to eradicate them. And another task of the shepherd was to keep an eye out for predators. So even though he said, oh, this field looks good, he will look around for signs of wolves or coyotes or cougars or bears. And if he will see, because see, they will raid the sheep, he will have to hunt them down or go to great pains to trap them so that the flock can rest in peace. And that's what the shepherd does before the sheep get there. That's preparation. Because he said, thou preparest a table. He talking about the land. You get the good land. You get pleasant land. One that is certainly has good grass. And you will do it for me in the presence of my enemies. Because the shepherd looks around for the enemies, knowing that if it's good pasture, guess what? The enemies want the good pasture too. So he said, and my cup runneth over. And that's what we're going to talk about today. My cup runneth over. But first, let's look at God prepares with care. Now, what is involved in this preparation time? Well, I told you he will go out beforehand. He spends time in the preparation. This is not a thrown together thing. He spends time in the preparation. He puts a lot of love in the preparation. He put things on the table that we need. And as you see, what a table. And no wonder, I have not seen, nor ear heard, neither has entered into the heart of man the things which God have prepared for them that love him. But if you want a seat at that table, let me tell you, If you want a seat at that table, you got to RSVP. And before we close out today, as we've been doing in the last week, if you have not sent in your RSVP, we will give you an opportunity because you want to be at the table, don't you? I know I love for you to be at the table. Who wants to be at a table like that all by themselves? He has prepared for you and all of us the finest. Because he said, I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again. 4 important words. I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. I don't know about you, but I want to be there. Look at Matthew 22:4. Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, look, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come. That's an invitation. Come unto the marriage. I don't know about you, but I want to go and be there. Well, what does the table provide, you might want to ask. And I have a question for you. What do you need? God's got it. His table will provide nourishment. Nourishment. Christ said that he was the bread. So guess what? And there is no nourishment food like bread. Bread has taken a bad rap. We want to say bread make you fat. Now bread don't make you fat. What makes you fat is when you are on a poor diet, eating plan. And the first thing we do is we drop the bread. I'm not going to eat the bread. And the bread wasn't what got you there. Christ said that he's the bread of life. Look what he says in John 6:32-35. Jesus said unto them, verily I tell you, it is not Moses who has given you the bread from heaven, but it is my Father who gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is the bread that comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Sir, they said, always give us this bread. Then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. Did you not know that we can eat bread and drink water and still live? And no wonder Jesus said, look, I'm the bread and I am water. I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry. And whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Because he is the water and he is the bread. He's our nourishment. So you can find nourishment at the table. See, the problem is we want to eat the world's food. And the world's food is deceitful. It's like ashes. I don't know about you, but I don't want to eat ashes. It's unsatisfying and it's perishable. You remember the son that went into the far country and fell among, after his money ran out, he couldn't find a job. He had to go and feed the pigs for somebody. And he got so hungry, what did he eat? He ate the husk that the pigs were eating. Now, the pigs didn't complain because they said, this is good. But when he had to start eating what the pigs were eating and nobody would give him anything, his eyes came open. Because there's no nourishment in husk. There's no nourishment in the food that the world wants us to eat. So you get nourishment from his table. What else do you get? You get opportunity for growth. And we will grow. We will learn. Once we start eating from his table, we will grow and we will have an opportunity to help others to grow. His table is a place of fellowship. Songwriters said, what a fellowship, what a joy divine. Can you imagine sitting there at that table that we saw a picture of, sitting there eating, fellowshipping with other believers and with Christ? Sitting there listening to Moses talk about what he'd been through, how he parted the Red Sea. I say, he never parted the a Red Sea like that for me, but he's made a way out of no way. Then David talking on the other end, David talking to me. Tell me how he got over, how he made and wrote Psalms number 23. And I will tell him, guess what, David? In Sunday school, I taught Psalms number 23. So it's a place of fellowship. Also at his table, we have a sense of security. We don't have to worry about other folks coming. We don't have to worry about nothing. And it's an abundance. We will find that more than what we need, we'll find it at the table. You see, it was one thing a host hates is to run out of food. And in Jesus' time, it was a shame. It was a tragedy. It was an embarrassment to run out of food or wine. That's how come in John chapter 2, when Jesus at that wedding, Mary went to Jesus and said, they out of wine. You didn't run out. You had an abundance. And then you go back and you read Esther chapter 1. I can't imagine if you think that this king can throw a feast and it lasted for 6 months. Who can party for 6 months? 6 months, and the wine, the food was there. And when the 6 months was up, he said to his closest buddies, the party too good. Let's come on over to this side, and we're going to party 7 more days. Whenever you drink, I got plenty of it. See that their cup is filled. Now, if a earthly king can throw a banquet or a party like that, just imagine what the King of Kings can do. It's an abundance. His table is a place of belonging. And as Peter said, 1 Peter 2:2, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. As newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. Now let's talk about the sheep reflects. First, the shepherd provides with care, and the sheep reflects. And the first thing that he reflects on is the overflow, because he said, my cup is full and running over. So he reflects on the overflow. But let me tell you, the overflow is only experienced by those sheep who have declared that the Lord is my shepherd. Not one of them. He is not one of many. He's not one of my shepherds, but he's my only shepherd. The Lord, only those sheep who have declared the Lord to be their only shepherd know what it is to have an overflow. And as you see, the cup is overflowing, and the overflow comes as a direct result of following the Lord only. So the sheep has declared, he leads me, he makes me, he restores my soul. In times of trouble, he makes me to rest upon his awesome presence and protection. And even though I walk through the valley, and knowing that the Lord will bring you through, you can look forward to his perfect provisions. He prepared a table for you. He anoints your head with oil. So when the sheep reflect back on all of that, he said, my cup is full. And not only is it full, but it's running over. And you know, there was a time, I can remember, see, we so dignified today, but yesteryear, I know in the, for lack of a better word, I'd say country, the people there will fill the cup, it will run over into the saucer. Now we got mugs and we got carry-out cups. We don't fool with overflow. But they had an overflow. They had a saucer. And the coffee or whatever they would flow over into the saucer. And they would drink what was in the saucer before they did the cup. Because they knew whatever that was in the saucer would be in the cup. Because there's coffee in the cup, that's what overflowed. If the milk was in the coffee, that overflowed with it. If sugar was in the coffee, the one that spilled over into the saucer did not disappear. It was the same. And so they would drink out of the saucer before they did the cup. Well, you might ask, How do we get to the running over stage in our walk with the Lord? What are the steps involved in going from a trickle to running over? Glad you asked. Glad you asked. Step one. It's easy now. Turn your cup right side up. Turn your cup right side up. You know, in most restaurants you go in, especially, well, upscale restaurants, the coffee cups are already placed on the table, but they are upside down. And if you desire coffee, you turn your cup right side up. And then the waitress or the waiter will take that as a signal that you desire coffee. If you left the cup turned upside down, they will come and take the saucer and the cup away. And my sisters and brothers, many of us are trying to live the abundant life with upside down cups. Our cups must be turned right side up to be open to believe God, to trust God, and to receive of His fullness. Let me say that again. Our cup must be turned right side up. Our cup must be open. We must be open to believe God, to trust God, and to receive of His fullness. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 said to us, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will bring it to pass. And He shall direct your path. Trust in the Lord. It didn't say for you to do anything big or outstanding, only trust in the Lord, or with all your heart, and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your path. Psalms 37, 3 and 4 says again, trust in the Lord. But here it throws something else up, and do good. Dwell in the land and feed on His faithfulness. Delight yourself also in the Lord, and He shall give you the desires of your heart. That's step one. Step two, have your cracked cup mended. See, if your cup is cracked, it may seep out. Seep out is not the same as overflowing. And your cup may be damaged from disobedience. God told you to do one thing and you did another. Your cup may be damaged from distrust. You don't trust Him. Because remember, we said, trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Disappointment. Or maybe you have become disconnected. So how do you get your cup mended? Simply Put yourself in the potter's hand. Jeremiah 18:2-6. Go down to the potter's shop, and I will speak to you there. So I did as he told me, and found the potter working at his wheel. But the jar he was making did not turn out as he had hoped. So he crushed it into a lump of clay again and started over. Then the Lord gave me this message: O Israel, can I not do as you do to you as this potter has done to his clay? As the clay is in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand. His hands have power to carry out his purpose. Acts 4:28 says, but everything they did was determined beforehand according to your will. So it didn't matter what. John and Peter had been thrown into jail, but here's what they say: everything that they did, the enemy did, was determined beforehand according to your will. You have power to perform. He has power to perform his promises. 1 Kings 8:56 says, blessed be the Lord who has given rest to his people, Israel, according to all that he promised. There has not failed one word of all his good promise, which he promised through his servant Moses. Not only does he have power to carry out his purpose, he has power to perform his promise. He has power to provide. Psalms 145:16 says, you open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. Every living thing. He has power to preserve. John 10:28-29, 28-29, yes, says, and I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish. Neither shall anyone snatch them out of my hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand. Have power of his presence. Deuteronomy 20:1 says, when you go out to battle against your enemies and see horses and chariots and people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them. You remember that lesson we did? I ain't scared of you. For the Lord your God is with you, who brought you up from the land of Egypt. Isaiah put it this way. Isaiah 43:1-2. But now, O Jacob, listen to the Lord who created you, O Israel. Stop. Let me go back. When you read that, put your name in it. But now, O Geneva, listen to the Lord who created you. O Geneva, the one who formed you says, do not be afraid, for I have ransomed you. I have called you, see, by name. You are mine. I belong to him. You can't touch me. When you go through deep waters, girl, I will be with you. When you go through rivers of difficulty, you will not drown. When you walk through the fire of oppression, you will not be burned up. I'm telling you, Geneva, the flames will not consume you. Put your name in there. And not only, he has power to carry out his purpose, power to perform his promise, power to provide, power to preserve, power of his presence, but also he has power to punish. 1 Chronicles 21:16. David looked up and saw the angel of the Lord standing between heaven and earth with his sword drawn, reaching out over Jerusalem. So David and the leaders of Israel put on burlap to show their deep distress and fell face down on the ground. Now let me say this to you. That's our lesson for today. But I told you, God is a God of preparation. We're living through some terrible times, and people said, I don't know why the Lord continues to tarry. Well, I will tell you why he continues to tarry. Because it is not his desire for any to be lost. And he is waiting for you. If you don't know the Lord in the pardon of your sin, I suggest to you get to know him, because one day this will all be over. The question is, where will you spend eternity? Then, or perhaps you say, well, since COVID-19 has come up, I was going to a church, but I don't go there anymore, and I was going to join. Well, you can go and join that church. Go back to church. Or I offer you, St. Stephen, come and go with us. We will do you well. Join the Sunday school class. Join the Hump Day class. Join the St. Stephen. I'm telling you, we are on our way and we will do you well. How do you join? Easy. Just call 502-583-6798 extension 0 and tell someone, I would like to join St. Stephen, or I would like to join the Hump Day class. I would like to become a part of the fellowship. Or you can email to newstart@ststephenssclive.org. Or you can email me, email gnelson@ssclive.org. And I promise you, someone will get in touch with you and see that you can be joining us and shouting, because your cup is full and running over. Well, next week we're going to close out this series. And our lesson will be God's favor chases me down. Woo, that sounds good. God's favor chases me down. See you next week. Be blessed.